Okay, here we are, going out of our feeding stations, some of them, on a road that, well, these tire tracks that you see, I made them. And it's pretty deep. And there's some grosbeaks, some pine grosbeaks flying. Can you see them? No, you probably can't. It's hard to see them. Anyway, so we're just driving along on this road, and hopefully we'll get out of here without getting stuck. We got a real good dump of snow starting last night, and it continued, and off and on today as well. And we're just coming out of here, and I'm going to tell you right now that I'm welcoming back my potbelly stove in my camper. I had a tent stove in there, and it was a Riley, and it didn't work for me. The potbelly stove was apparently a terrible stove, but once I used the Colt, the Riley Colt, in my camper for a week, sleeping in that camper with it, it was not possible to continue using it for various reasons that I might list at some point in another video clip. But right now I'm just telling you that the potbelly stove that they call the hippie killer was far safer, far better than the stove that I put in after that one, thinking it would be better. It has a lot of problems for a camper. It's probably good for on the trail. I wouldn't want to use it in a tent, even though it is a tent stove. If I can't use it in my camper, I'm certainly not comfortable using it in a tent. But the potbelly stove, if you put what I did inside the bottom, line it with about 4 inches, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of sand. That protects the bottom of that stove. So, and if you keep small fires only in there, you won't have a problem with it. It's a great stove for 90 bucks at Home Hardware. That's what I got. And until I can afford to get, probably I might get some sort of 3-dog stove. I have a 3-dog already in another trailer. If I can afford sometime soon to get another 3-dog. The 3-dog is a little bit big. It's not much different in size than the Riley Colt. However, it's sturdy steel. It doesn't have a lot of holes in it. You can damp down when you want to, all the way down, and have a small fire that goes on for, well, practically all night. I didn't find that with the Riley Colt. I found that I was up every 45 minutes. The fire was out. It burns as hot as it wants to. You can't damp it down. And you put the wood in, and that fire is going to burn until that wood is gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing I could do about it anyway. If somebody has some information on what I could do about that to fix that problem, I would fix it. But I with all of my brainstorming, couldn't come up with anything. And it took me all of 5 minutes to reinstall my potbelly stove, and I used it today, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy that I have it back in my camper. I'm going to check and see if the 4-dog stove company has something smaller than a 3-dog. If they have a 2-dog, I'd really be happy. I'm going to check and see. Because that would probably be perfect. I probably wouldn't have to search for a stove anymore. But as it is right now, until I can find something even better, I'm going to stick with the potbelly stove in my camper. I can control the fire. It burns for hours. And it does depend, though, I mean, your safety in a camper with any kind of stove depends on whether or not you know how to maintain a small fire, I think. So just a few sticks of wood, small, and you can't let it get away on you. If you let it get away on you, then you're asking for it. But I have enough experience with fire. I've been using it every day for 9 years in a multi-faceted scenario with, you know, I know fire pretty good. I know it's sneaky. I know it can do things. I haven't had any problem with this potbelly stove, really. I mean, people scared me with it. Oh, get that out of there. That thing's going to kill you. It's a hippie killer. It's going to burn up and burn my sauna up. It's going to burn you down. Well, of course it'll burn you down if you have a big fire and let it get away on you. It'll turn that metal red hot, and yeah, you'll get a fire. You could get a fire. And apparently people have had that happen, and I can see it happening, but I am pretty good with the fires. I don't recommend a potbelly made of tin for anybody in a camper or even a tent situation, or anywhere actually where there could be a fire, that it could catch onto anything, if they don't understand how to keep small fires, because that's the ticket right there. Nothing's going to happen if you have a small fire. Even if it did get away on you, and I don't see how it could, if it's small, you can do it. I mean, you could literally pick those logs up with some gloves and throw them out the window, you know, and get rid of your problem. You could reach right into the stove and do it. I mean, I've done that kind of stuff already. So, as far as the potbelly stove is concerned, I'm happy with it. $90 as opposed to $300 plus $100 shipping for the Riley Colt. And the patent that he has on it, I don't know if that's why he's got those little holes, little tiny holes all the way down the left and the right hand side of the top of that stove along the edge. Well, all that does is feed the fire. And then when you have the slider damper on the bottom and close it all the way, there's still an inch or more gap that stays wide open. In fact, sparks can fly out that opening onto your floor with the Riley Colt. I don't know why they made it that way. They must have a reason. But for me, that's just not safe. I can't, and when I opened the door of that stove, even from the onset, right when I installed it initially, the first minute I started using it, that smoke poured out the door. I don't know why, because my chimney was perfectly clean. There was nothing blocking the chimney. It's a straight up chimney. There was no elbows in it or anything. And yet, every time you open it, to even check the fire or to add more wood or do anything, just to look at the fire, it's, you get a camper full of smoke immediately. And there's nothing you can do to stop that from happening, and I still don't understand why that is. I don't know if it's something in the design or what. I can't see what I would be doing that would be wrong that would cause that to happen. So, as far as I've had a lot of experience with stoves, lots of different types, but this is my first experience having it in such a small space, like a camper on a Ford Ranger. And I have to say that probably even a smaller stove, I'd like a really tiny countertop type stove is what I would like. I'm going to look around and see if, if I can find one somewhere. I won't be able to find one up here, but maybe somewhere out there there's a stove that I can live with that's reasonably priced. And something that isn't sitting right in the middle of the floor in the camper taking up all the room. And when I had the potbelly in there the first time, I thought, God, this is so big, for such a small space. I haven't got much room to walk around the stove in there. I thought, oh, it'll be so good to get that Riley Colt in there. Well, I got the Riley Colt in there, and there was even less room. Less. So when I put the potbelly back in this morning, I realized right away that it looked so small compared to the Riley. And I was happy at the smallness. I went, hey, going from thinking it was too big and not enough space to be available to walk around, from being, hey, there's lots of space to walk around. So there you go.